Welcome to Chronicles and Legends. Please hit that subscribe and let us know where in the world are you tuning in from. Let's get started. In the grey mists of medieval Germany, fear wasn't just whispered, it howled. The villagers of Bedburg had long been haunted by something lurking. In the woods, children vanished, livestock gutted, bodies found torn open, faces frozen in terror, as if they'd seen not a beast, but something worse. And then they caught him. Peter Stumpp, a respected farmer, a widower, a father, and beneath it all, a monster. They said he wore a wolf's pelt gifted by Satan himself, that he hunted by moonlight, feeding on blood and flesh, infants, women, even his own kin. He confessed. After the rack twisted the truth from his bones, they tied him to the wheel, broke him limb by limb, scorched his flesh, then burned what was left. But no one could say what died that night, the man or the beast inside him. This is not just a tale of madness. It is the origin of a curse that predates kingdoms, a fear that still claws at our door in the dead of night. The werewolf is not fiction. It is ancient. It is sacred. It is savage. And it never truly dies. Long before Europe burned witches, long before Peter Stumpp screamed beneath the wheel, there were older tales, tales whispered in the flickering lamplight of ancient Mesopotamia, land of gods, demons, and shapeshifters. Among the first civilizations, there walked the Utoku, spirits of the restless dead, returned from the underworld to roam as beasts. Some took the form of wolves, others wore human skin by day, and shed it beneath the stars. They were not evil, not always, but they were feared. Wolves were omens, harbingers of divine wrath. To be hunted by one was to be marked by the gods. Even then, the transformation of man to beast was sacred. It was a punishment, a warning, a curse. In ancient Greece, the myth became flesh. King Lycaon, impious and cruel, served human flesh to Zeus himself. Disgusted, the god cursed him, to lose his speech, his reason, his humanity. To become the ravening wolf his soul had always been. Lycaon is more than myth. He is the first lycanthrope, the origin of the name itself, but Greece was not alone. To the Romans, wolves raised emperors. Romulus and Remus, suckled by a she-wolf. To the Norse, the berserkers, warriors who wore wolf pelts, became possessed by the spirit of the beast in battle. They killed without fear or mercy. To transform was to gain power, but to risk losing one's soul. From the Euphrates to the fjords, one truth endured. The wolf was not just an animal, it was an idea, a mirror, a warning. The ancients feared that beneath the thin veil of civility, we are all one bite away from becoming the thing we dread. And when the moon rose, the transformation was divine. But as the old gods died and a new religion took root, the wolf became something else entirely, a devil, a disease, a heretic in fur. When the world turned to the cross, the wolves did not disappear. They were driven underground, rewritten, condemned. The ancient spirits of the wild, those who dance by moonlight, were now beasts of the devil. In the shadows of medieval Europe, the church forged a new tale. The werewolf as heretic, a man who gave his soul to darkness, a servant of Satan marked by sin. Witchcraft was their religion, lycanthropy their disease, and the cure was pain. In the witch hunts of the 15th and 16th centuries, not all who burned were women. Some were men accused of changing shape, of hunting in packs, of killing not for war, but for lust. They were tortured until they confessed. And if they didn't, they were tortured more. Take Gilles Garnier, the Werewolf of Dole, a hermit, a beggar, a loner. When children began to vanish from the countryside, rumors spread of a man-wolf stalking the fields. They found bones near his home. They said he confessed to eating them. He said he used an ointment that let him take on the form of a beast. They burned him at the stake. The old world saw the werewolf as a transformation, but to the church, it was possession. To become a beast was to become damned. This wasn't just fear of the wild, it was fear of what happens when you step outside the bounds of control. Werewolves became metaphors for lust, for wrath, for hunger, for rebellion against God's order. In the words of St. Augustine himself, even the devil himself can grant the illusion of beastly form. The church did not need proof, only belief. And the belief was this: if you strayed too far into the woods, if you disobeyed, desired, or defied, you became the hunted. You became the wolf. But it wasn't just myth. It wasn't just metaphor. People were dying, and the beast was about to break loose. Europe burned. The woods were no longer wild. They were hunted, and what they hunted wasn't just witches, it was the beast within. Between the 15th and 18th centuries, a different kind of trial gripped the heart of Europe, not for heresy, not for treason, but for the crime of becoming a werewolf. It began in France, 1521, Poligny. 3 men, Pierre Burgot, Michel Verdun, and Philibert Monteau, accused of a pact with the devil, of turning into wolves, of devouring children, they confessed. Under torture, they were burned. This wasn't an isolated madness, it was an epidemic. In Bedburg, Germany, Peter Stumpp was accused in 1589 of feasting on the flesh of his neighbors, children, livestock, even his own son. He said he wore a magic wolf belt. They said he made love to a succubus. He was broken on the wheel, flesh torn with red-hot pincers. And then he burned. Over 30,000 people were executed for witchcraft and werewolfism in Europe. It wasn't just myth, it was fear, codified, weaponized, institutionalized. The Inquisition accepted spectral evidence. If someone dreamed you were a wolf, you could hang. If crops failed, or a baby vanished, or someone was found torn open in the woods, it was the work of a lycanthrope. The beast was always someone else, your neighbor, your uncle, your wife. In Estonia, they called them the night wolves. In Switzerland, Teufelswürfel, Satan's dice, and always, they confessed, because the wheel makes anything speak. The werewolf was no longer just a myth. It had become a legal category of monster. Children were told, don't go out after dark, don't stray from the village, don't speak to strangers, with hair on their palms, and above all, don't howl. But how do you kill a story like this? You don't. You feed it, and the story howled. The trials faded, the fire died, but the beast did not sleep. It just changed. It crawled out of the confession room into the cinema. The burning stopped. The trials ended, but the fear endured. It crept into the 20th century. It slipped into dark theaters. It breathed behind the silver screen. In 1941, the world met the Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr. Tragic, doomed, and bitten. No pact with Satan, no demonic belt, just a man, infected. The curse now had science. The monster had a conscience. The werewolf had become the victim. Modern werewolves weren't evil. They were trapped, cursed, haunted by what they couldn't control. A hair on the back of your hand, a twitch in the spine, a sudden taste for blood. It It wasn't a choice. It was the animal inside. Psychoanalysts like Freud called it the id, the primal, snarling chaos beneath our civility. The werewolf became the metaphor for every suppressed urge, every violent instinct, every taboo desire. In Ginger Snaps, the wolf was puberty. In Teen Wolf, it was popularity. In Twilight, desire. Every decade gave the beast a new mask, but the truth stayed the same. We fear the wolf because we are the wolf. We are animals in suits, predators with paychecks, lichens with license plates. We smile, we shake hands, but we want to tear, to feed, to run. The transformation is no longer spiritual, it's psychological, symbolic. But every full moon, something inside still remembers. Even in the world of science, shadows remain. A real condition exists, clinical lycanthropy, a delusion, a diagnosis. People who believe they are wolves, who feel their bones shift, who wake covered in mud, blood, and memory. Doctors try to name it, dissect it, control it. But can you cage a myth? Can you medicate a monster? In the age of science and steel, the werewolf still walks. He just wears better clothes. What if the werewolf isn't a monster, not a demon, not a curse, not a fairy tale for dark forests and darker nights? What if the werewolf is a memory? Our ancestors feared the wolf. They fought it, worshipped it, became it. And deep down, they remembered when food was scarce, when blood was warmth, when the moon was not a symbol, but a signal. The wolf is in our stories, our genes, our nervous system, the part of your brain that flinches at howling. It's older than language. We gave the beast a name. We dressed it in superstition. We buried it in folklore, but it never left. It just waits. Science calls it delusion. Psychiatry calls it lycanthropy. Religion calls it sin. But the body remembers, the mind stirs. And when you dream of teeth and fur, of chasing, of killing, what is that exactly? In the end, the werewolf was never just a myth. It was a mirror. We are the monster in the woods. We are the shadow under the skin. We are the howl behind the teeth. The wolf is not gone. He walks beside you, sleeps inside you, and sometimes he wakes up. So tell me, when the moon is full and the night is quiet, do you lock your doors or do you run to the trees?